Hey, it's Gabe with API Nation. Hey, if you're getting emails about leads from a lead service, a lead source, they're just sending you the information about a new lead and you have to go and copy and paste that into your CRM, I'm going to show you how you can automate that using a tool called Mailparser.io and using the Google Sheet sync through API Nation. It's going to completely automate the process. So as soon as the lead comes in, you just pop open your CRM and you can see it, start working it, and start creating that deal. No import, export, download, upload, none of that stuff. So what we're going to use is a tool called Mailparser.io. It's a completely different company than API Nation. We are not affiliated, we're not partnered or anything like that, but we found it's very helpful for automating in this way, pulling the information out of an email, putting it in a spreadsheet, and then API Nation can hop in, take over, and put that information from a spreadsheet into the CRM of your choice. The first step to setting up this automation is going to be creating a spreadsheet where all your leads are going to land. So we're going to open up a page here. In the address bar, you can actually just use this helpful little shortcut. It's spreadsheets.new. And if you type that in there, it's just going to create a new Google Sheet for you automatically. So there we go, it just takes you to a brand new, fresh Google Sheet. And we're going to call this New Leads from Mailparser. And then we're just going to put in header rows for information we expect from a lead. So stuff like first name, last name, email, phone, message, address, city, state, zip, and anything else you think might be coming over with your leads that you're going to want synced in eventually to your CRM. But this looks good to me. This is all the information I typically want. So now that we have this spreadsheet, we're going to go over to Mailparser.io to set up that part. Next, we're going to go to Mailparser.io, and this is a separate tool from API Nation, but I find it's really useful. What it does is those emails you get, those lead notification emails with all the information about a lead that you get, you have them sent or you automatically forward them to an email address that Mailparser is going to give you. And Mailparser is going to be able to pull out the relevant information, the name, the message, the address, the phone, the email, all that stuff, and you can have it put into a spreadsheet. So that's what we're going to do here. And if you go to the pricing page on Mailparser, you'll see there is a free account. So that's what we would use to get started. If you're getting more than 30 leads a month or you want to do this with other apps, then consider going up to the professional version. But just to get started, we're going to go with the free version. And once you set it up, it's going to look like this. Create your first inbox. So you're going to hit this button, go ahead and name the inbox, and you can name it something as normal as leads. You can name it after the service where the leads are coming from, whatever is going to be most helpful for you. Hit save, and there we go. It's created your email address for your inbox. And this email address, you need to do one of two things. One, you can either go to the lead service, the lead generation service, and give it this email address as a second place to send those lead notification emails. You can do that, or you can set up a rule in your inbox, your Gmail, your Outlook, whatever you're using, so that any emails you get from your lead service automatically get forwarded to this email address. Either way, those lead notification emails you're getting need to somehow get sent to this email address. That's very important. So once you go and do that, the next thing it's asking you to do is send over some examples of what kind of emails you're expecting from your lead generation service. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to copy this to clipboard. I'm going to go over to my email inbox and forward over a couple emails. And you're going to see it's waiting for those examples to arrive. And as soon as those examples arrive, it's going to say, good news, we got your emails. So now you're going to hit select and continue to set up the parsing rules. So now Mailparser.io is going to take that example email you sent it and it's going to try and parse it. So you can see here's that email, and it's actually done a pretty good job just parsing out the information from that email. So this is using the default template. And if it happens to be a service that mailparser.com has a template for, you can go ahead and choose the category, most likely real estate, but some of them I've seen have been insurance leads. But you can click that and then see if it'll recognize it with any of the templates it has in its library. It doesn't look like it is for this one, but maybe you'll have better luck with the service you're using. So I'm going to stick with that default category. it looked like it was actually doing a great job with that default template. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with that template. This looks good. It's gonna ask me if I do want a category. I don't. It looks like it was working pretty well. It was pulling the first name, last name, email, phone, all the stuff I needed from that email that I got sent. So I'm just gonna stick with that default category. And there we go. It says, congratulations, you've set up that template. So now any email that gets sent to your Mailparser inbox, it's gonna know exactly what it is, what the email is, what information you want pulled out of it. It's gonna parse that information correctly. This looks good. I'm gonna hit OK. And if you ever need to go ahead and alter any of what they call the rules, you can just click on this rules area, come in here and edit them to make sure you're getting the exact information. So you can click on first name and maybe guide it a little bit more on where the first name is in the email. But for the most part, you can see it does most of it pretty well automatically. So now that the leads are coming into Mailparser, I got to set up an integration to Google Sheets so that it dumps them into a Google Sheet. And then we're going to set up a sync from that Google Sheet into API Nation. So let's set up the integration in Mailparser to that Google Sheet. So to do that, I'm going to hit Integrations, and then we're going to click New Integrations. And Mailparser gives you a lot of good options here as far as integrating, including a webhook, a generic webhook, which we have a separate video if you want to connect Mailparser to your app using a generic webhook. Super helpful if your app doesn't have a connection to Google Sheets like some of these CRMs. But we're going to use Google Sheets because API Nation does connect to a lot of CRMs using Google Sheets. So I'm going to use this Google Sheet integration, and these are set up per inbox. So only this one inbox is going to get this integration. If you have multiple inboxes for different lead sources, maybe you have Realtor CA, maybe you have Op City, maybe you have another one, all different inboxes, you're going to need to set up different integration for each of those inboxes. So let me just do this for this one. You can choose your Google account. I've connected Gabe at API Nation. If I haven't, I would hit add account and go ahead and sign in, but I've connected in the past, so it's just going to serve it up. All right, the app is now connected. It's refreshed the page with that connection, and it's asking me to choose the spreadsheet. So I'm going to hit this drop down, and we're looking for this spreadsheet we created at the beginning, new leads from Mailparser. So I'm going to click on the drop down, and this is alphabetical. So I'm just going to scroll down to N for new, LMN. There it is, new leads from Mailparser. So I'm going to click on that, and then it's going to ask for the worksheet, which is just going to be the first page because that's where we created it. Sheet 1, it chooses it automatically. Great. Last thing to do here to make this connection is the field mapping. These are the columns in Google Sheets we created earlier, and it's going to offer us some stuff from the email. So we're going to put first name there. We're going to see if there's a last name. It doesn't look like there is a last name with this lead, so we're going to skip that. We're going to put in email. We're going to put in phone. We're going to put in message, and just go through and map this up. Super easy. There we go, state and zip. And again, if you're getting additional information with your leads that you want added in here, just be sure to create columns in your spreadsheet for that information. So if it's something like second email address, second phone number, buyer, seller, any of that information, just make a column for it, name it something you're going to understand. And then when you go through and do the mapping in Mailparser, it's going to offer it to you, and you can just map it up with the stuff it's pulling out of the email. That's it. I'm going to hit save and test. It's going to send over that lead into my Google Sheet. Send test data. Great. There we go. Looks like it worked. So now my Mailparser inbox is taking every lead I send to it and putting it in a Google Sheet. That's great. Awesome to have that backed up. All right, and the final step now is we're going to go to apination.com and set up the sync from the Google Sheet into the CRM, the contact management tool, or the marketing tool of your choice. So here we go. We're going to go over to apination.com. You're going to click on Start Syncing. It's going to take you to this page full of different apps you can automate. Let's go down to Google Sheets here because that's what we're going to use. There it is. Click on that. It's going to show you all the apps you could be pushing these leads into, and you're going to see a lot of CRMs. So your CRM is probably here if you have Boomtown, if you have Lofty, if you have KW Command, KV Core, LionDesk, they're all in here. But if you're using something else, maybe you want this pushed into your iPhone as a contact, or maybe you want it pushed into your Google contacts, your Gmail, your Android, you could do that also. Maybe you want to push it into a marketing tool like Mailbox Power or MailChimp. You could do that too. All this stuff can be automated, and actually you can automate it into more than one app. So I could set up a sync into MailChimp and Mailbox Power and iPhone and my CRM. So it gets pushed into all 4 of those apps at the same time. I'm going to show you how to set up this sync. We're just going to go with Google Contacts for now. Pretty simple. It's going to sync everybody who gets added to that Google Sheet into my Google Contacts, into my Gmail, into my phone. So you're going to see it's going to have a couple different sync options for these connections. I want the one that says send stuff from my Google Sheet into my Google Contacts, my CRM, my marketing tool, whatever. But I want the source to be my Google Sheet. So I'm going to hit activate on that one. The first step is to sign into your API Nation account. If you don't have one yet, you can create one here. Totally free to create one. And then you're just going to create a subscription later on once you're finished creating this sync. Or you can sign in with your Google account. I'm going to do that. Next, you're going to connect both apps. So you're going to hit connect under Google Sheets. Make sure you're connecting the Google Sheets account where you're saving that Google Sheet from Mailparser. So be sure you're doing that. That way you can find that Google Sheet when you need to sync it in here. And then you're going to connect your second app, your marketing app, your CRM, whatever it is. You're just going to hit connect on that. Usually very simple. You just sign into the app. Occasionally there's something like finding an API key, but on every app where that's the process, we have all the instructions right there. It's super easy to figure out. Once you've connected both your apps, the Google Sheets and the app you want this pushed into, now we just need that spreadsheet URL. So we created that spreadsheet at the beginning. I'm just going to go back there, grab that URL, and go back to API Nation and paste it in here. There we go. So that's where it's going to pull the information from. So that spreadsheet is what Mailparser is pushing information to. And now API Nation is going to pull information and push it into your desired app. There's usually a couple different options with the app you want to push it into. You can see for Google Contacts, it asks me if I want to label these as they're going into Google Contacts. Totally up to you. One consistent one is it asks if you want to overwrite information. So if somebody is coming in through your lead service and they already exist in the app, you can say, do not overwrite it, just leave it there. Or you can leave this box unchecked and say, go ahead and overwrite it, that's fine. Once you're all set, you're gonna hit subscribe, and that's gonna actually create the sync. So this is the actual sync now. This is the big button to start it up, activate sync, but there's one thing I wanna do before I do that. I wanna come down here to mapping and double check it. So you can see if I come down here to mapping, this is where I tell it where that information from the Google Sheet should go in my connected app. So under phone, I'm gonna go ahead and just sync up phone. I hit this plus sign and I'm just gonna search phone. There we go, it looks good. Let me grab that email address. Again, I hit the plus sign and find the field. Grab the first name, grab the last name. This is all looking good. Come on down here and it looks like it actually pulled the information for the property address, city, state, and zip. Let's go ahead and get the street address in there. And then the last thing I wanna do is the message. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the notes. So you might have a notes area on your CRM, or sometimes it's called the description area, and that's where you can put this message. There we go. There we go. And if there's anything else you want to sync over, for example, some CRMs have a field called tags or a field called source. Let's say this one is called source. You can go ahead and just type the name of the lead source company. So I can just go ahead and say this is coming from homes.com. And then that will always come over as that source for every lead that goes through here. And you can do the same thing with the tags field. Just type in a tag and it'll always tag it with that same tag. This looks good to me though. I'm gonna go ahead and activate the sync. And there we go. The sync is now up and running. And like I said, you can click on this Google Sheets logo, come back here and sync it again to another app, as many apps, as many connections as you want. Just automate it so the lead goes into all the apps you need it to go into without you having to copy and paste or do any of that stuff. So that's it. That's how you can make any lead you're getting through your email automatically get entered into your CRM. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to upload, download, copy, paste, none of that. All of that stuff is now automated using that mailparser.io tool and API Nation's Google Sheets sync. You can just focus on hopping into your CRM, working the leads, and creating more deals. If you have any questions or need any assistance setting up this sync, give us a phone call, shoot us an email. We're API Nation, and we are connecting the world's applications.